Hello there, and thank you so much for joining us on yet another episode of Investment Trends, brought to you courtesy of the Zambia Development Agency in collaboration with your public service broadcaster, the Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation, ZNBC. This week on the program, we look at the Zambia International Investment Forum, which is slated for the 2nd as well as the 3rd of October 2018 at the Radison Blue in the capital city, Lusaka. Now, this forum was recently launched by the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry, and this year's forum is unique in that the Zambia Development Agency has partnered with Impact Capital Africa to host a forum that will focus on impact capital investment opportunities. Now, in studio, I do have Mr. Matongo Matamwandi, Director Investment at the Zambia Development Agency, just to give us more detail regards this particular forum, as well as some of the benefits that will accrue as far as the country is concerned when they come to hosting this particular forum. It's good to have you yet on the show, and obviously looking forward for the bigger day when Zambia does host this particular conference.
Thank you, Jason. It's always a pleasure to feature on this program, because it gives us opportunities to share with the public what the Zambia Development Agency is doing, and thank you very much.
Let's really set the ball rolling and get to understand what this forum is all about.
The Zambia International Investment Forum, as we have always called it, basically I'm sure you are aware, and most people are aware, that most countries, what they do, they always want to create a platform where you can bring your local investors and your foreign investors in one room so that they can discuss investment issues. And primarily the idea is, after a lot of discussion, you expect that serious deals can come out of there. So you market your forum across the world, attract the best of those foreign investors that you think can add value to your country. So Zambia, like any other country, we've been running with this forum for some time now. I'm sure you're aware that the last one we had, that's where ZIIF managed to bring in one of prominent business people in the world, Richard Branson, came to a similar forum. So ideally, it's just targeted investors who you think when they come, they listen to our story, then they can make a decision, this is the right country to invest in. So we've run quite a number of them. And obviously, sometime 2 years ago, after the last one we had, we realized that every time we had an investment forum like that, if we ran them annually, it doesn't give us enough time to actually actualize the outcomes that come out of the forum. So that's why you notice that last year we didn't have any, because we decided that we are going to have it every second year, so that we use the year after to ensure that we follow up and these deals are done before we can go and have another forum.
Excellent.
That's why we are having it this year.
Yeah, so actually I was about to get to the point where I wanted to know, really, this not been the first one that you are hosting. I wanted to look at some of the lessons that you've learned, so getting into this new one to make it better and bigger.
I mean, like I earlier alluded to, obviously for every forum you run, beyond that you do a review, see what is working, what is not working, and then we realize that a 2-year cycle would work well for us, so that we have 1 year to ensure that we are able to trace down actions that come out of the forum. So we skipped last year. This year we are going to have one. But obviously we also learned some lessons that there was quite a bigger portion of it which sounded like more of a talk show, and some things were actually not practically possible to go and implement. So that was part of what started informing what we are planning to do this year.
All right, and obviously from what I gather, this particular one is unique in that you've partnered, so what's this partnership, what does it bring to the table?
This one is interesting in the sense that obviously we have engaged a lot of stakeholders, private sector especially, our small and medium and micro enterprises, to get feedback on how the forum was running. And of course the challenges that we had to implement some of the things that came out of those discussions. And we realized that as a country, the biggest challenge we are having is actually to motivate and to help indigenous Zambian entrepreneurs and grow them. And we started asking ourselves this question: how can we use this platform to start growing Zambian multinationals so that we can also export them to go and participate in international fora? So that was the focus of the conversation and the review. So this year around, we thought of doing something different and take a focus much more on the local investors, the local entrepreneurs, with quite some bias towards the small and micro businesses that have all these projects. They are not growing and they are not moving forward. So that's the focus of this year, and that's what makes it unique, completely different from the usual ones where you have multinationals and large businesses. This is centered on small and micro businesses and medium businesses, but local or Zambian businesses.
So Impact Africa, how do they come in there?
Then we realize what are the issues around the Zambian businesses. One, we realize that until we get Zambian businesses to participate in this investment growth in Zambia, we are not going to get the desirable impact. When we say impact, what do we mean? We are looking for economic, social, and to a larger extent, obviously, environmental impact on our country. That's what you call sustainable investment. So in sourcing around, we came across that there is an existing institution or forum called the Impact Capital Africa, which has been doing something similar to what we are thinking about. And then obviously there was a meeting of minds. We engaged them and we started discussing. And thanks to an institution called Matongo Foundation, because in the process of what we are looking for, Matongo Foundation linked us up. This is a trust operating in Zambia, but also with an office in the UK. And I think in our next episode, we'll spend a bit more time because we would want to invite them to come and tell their own story. But they linked us up to Impact Capital Africa. What do? They look around for financiers of projects, and they bring them into one room. So what makes it different is we look around for Zambian businesses, medium, micro, and small, and through Impact Capital Africa, they will look around for financiers who are looking to finance projects of that nature. So the conference is just basically bringing the financiers of projects on one side from all over the world, and the local Zambians who are looking for capital to finance projects that we think are viable projects.
Having heard that, just much earlier, you talked about the aspect of the fact that this one is more practical.
Yes.
Just make me understand with what you've explained so far. How practical is this one?
I'm not even trying to suggest that the previous ones were not practical. I think they were, but we are looking at the impact that it will make. Zambia's unique challenge in investment is that the local businesses are not growing. And we discover that one of the major reasons is financing. Okay? Starting up a business and borrowing from the bank, you literally strangle your business. And I'm not saying people should not borrow from the bank, but you need to do your numbers right to ensure that you have a project that can actually sustain you to a level where you can pay back your obligations wherever you borrow money. So financing has always been a challenge, and we've been looking at Zambia Development Agency. How can we help local businesses with financing? And this is what Impact Capital brings. They are going to bring us financiers who are going to bring capital that is not going to come at a rate, at a commercial rate. So the idea is we are engaging Zambian businesses, and I'm even appealing here to those who are listening to this and they are micro or small businesses and they have projects that they think are viable, they are worth looking at. We are saying come to ZIIF, bring your projects, working with the PEP Zambia and the Matongo. What we are going to do is pick up this project, okay? Test their viabilities, then help them to package them in such a way that they can appeal to our partners who is PEP Zambia, so that they can help us actually to sponsor this conference. But the Impact Capital Africa, what they are doing is to bring in these financiers. So we go into one room and present these projects. It's not a one-day event. So the conference is just basically now where we are going to finalize the deals. There will be deals that will be signed during the conference. It's not just talking. So the question of being practical is that this one is not a conference for talking. This is a conference to finalize deals and sign off. That's the practical side that I wanted to bring in.
Excellent. And then, I mean, I heard you talk about more on the fact that if there's anybody watching or listening, they should come through. What kind of businesses are we looking at here? Because when you mentioned that statement, I'm sure a lot of them want to jump and say, oh, I'm going to ZIIF, but then there could be some specific businesses that you're looking at? Or it's anybody selling tomatoes, anybody who's got a farm? What are you looking at?
Obviously, we are looking at the catchword in this whole thing is impact. We are looking for businesses that can make that economic and social impact on our country. That's number one. Two, obviously, you need to assess and see, is this project viable? So you put up a project concept, then we'll help you to put it in a way that we can be able to actually help you market this project to the financiers that will be coming. There will be a number of project financiers that will come from all over the world, and courtesy of the Impact Capital Africa, but they'll be looking, is this project viable? If it is viable, what impact or social and economic is it going to make? Is it a sustainable business that eventually can sustain itself? So those are some of the reviews that will be done. So if you think the tomato business is viable enough and sustainable, come and put up your case. Of course, we'll screen them using experts in investment, so that what we are going to bring to the conference are those that will genuinely make the impact we are looking for.
So then I was going to ask to say, really, what do business need to do to be part of this, this forum?
I mean, ideally, we have partners. Call on ZIIF. I mean, we know where ZIIF is. Call on ZIIF. If at all some of them come through you as ZNBC, you can still refer them to us. We want as many of them to come through, but they should bring projects that look viable. We've got PEP Zambia, who are helping us to finance, and thanks so much to PEP Zambia for coming on board. And then we've got Matongo Foundation, who are working with. But obviously, we'll be featuring these two institutions now to just come and give the details on how this whole process is going to operate. So I'm just giving a high level information about how the whole conference is going.
These small entrepreneurs should do this whole process before the conference.
Yes. The process we launched last week, meaning the process has started. We have already started receiving these projects, and there's a team of experts that are assessing. We want as many Zambian businesses with viable business proposals to come through so that they can be part of this process. Remember, Zambian businesses have been crying. We are not having local investors participate in this whole investment proposal we put up as ZIIF. We are saying, we have listened. We are doing it. We are bringing financiers. Of course, there will be a component of foreign investors who will come for possible joint ventures and partnerships. This is what we want to do so that we can make that desired impact and see these Zambian businesses start taking off.
Any possible mentorship, workshops or any activities that would, to some extent, grow, business ideas, initiatives, and what is already existing among entrepreneurs?
Precisely. That's why we've started it now. This process I'm talking about is that if someone comes with a brilliant business idea, we'll take them through. This involves, obviously, mentorship, coaching, helping them to package, and this is the process we are talking about. Come October, we are just going to sign deals.
There are people out there who've got this assumption that, ZIIF, it's for the elites. You can't just walk in at ZIIF. What's the policy like when it comes to, having access to you people to explain these things out in person?
Of course, I think that's a perception. It is a perception, and understandably so. We as ZIIF have a responsibility actually to help people understand what we do. But you'll be interested to know that we have an entire division under ZIIF called the Enterprise Development Division. All they do is to get Zambian businesses, help them from entrepreneurship development to actually running businesses. And we can showcase some of the local Zambians that we have helped, and they are running businesses now. And of course, we engage them. Most of them, their biggest challenge is not that they don't have the skill, but also they can't access reasonable capital to keep their business growing. And that's why it brings us to this. So we are not there just for large businesses. We are not there for foreign businesses. We only bring foreign investment, what we call direct foreign investment, because we want them to partner with locals and make an impact. And that we need, of course. They also bring skills, they bring technology. So we can't be a closed society. We have Zambians who have invested in other countries, and they are also called foreign investors. They make money there, and they bring it back here. So it's the whole world investing and trading with the rest of the world.
To that common person out there who probably has this notion that such conferences have not in any way benefited or helped the country or contribute to the country's GDP, what would you say to them regards some of the benefit that the country has accrued of such forums?
I'm tempted to say they should come to this one so that we can prove them wrong, but I'm not going to say that. All I'm saying is come and be part of this process and see what is going to come out here. It's different, it's practical, it speaks to the challenges we have, and we think this is what Zambia needs going forward. It's the first time we are going to do the Impact Capital Conference, and I think this will change how we are going to do business going in future. So let's come on board and do it and see what will come out of it.
So much earlier you mentioned that the other year, which was obviously 2016, you had prominent businessmen come through and had talks obviously with our local entrepreneurs. Any special features to look out for this year?
I wouldn't preempt now. Like I have mentioned, it's in October. Yeah. We just launched it. Of course, we have some of these exciting ideas, and obviously some big names who are interested to be part of the process. But I think as we go along, we'll be sharing updates, because some of them we haven't really finalized. But as we go along, Jason will definitely share that information.
To what extent really can, there's been talk about, calling on the local people to embrace, entrepreneurship, to be the next big thing. To what extent can really entrepreneurship transform an economy?
I mean, there are countries we can look to that have, I'm sure you're aware that if you look at most, I'll use Japan as an example. Toyota started as a family business. Okay, Mitsubishi started as, and you can tell even from those names that these are family businesses which are now global businesses. They are multinationals. So there are countries that have done it. But we need to start investigating and rechecking how did they do it. And that's what we are focusing on. Okay? If you are a developing economy like us, we might have limited choice, but in certain ways it also is to embrace the rest of the world, and hence the need of foreign direct investment to come. But our focus is on what? Partnerships and joint ventures. Let these businesses come with their money, their technology, their experience, and then as we facilitate partnerships with the locals, we can learn, we can ride on that financing, and then build our local businesses that can grow. It's the most sustainable way of doing it. Then eventually we can have Zambian multinationals that can go to the rest of the world.
Let's talk about the registration process now. I mean, how tough is it? How difficult is it? How simple is it for one that wants to be part of this conference?
Of course, we've got a website, and you can come through to ZIIF. You can check on PEP Zambia. You can go to Msangu. But the easiest is just to go. The easiest everyone else now does is if you go and just Google Impact Capital Africa, Zambia. I think it will lead you to the site, and you find the registration is online, it's happening, or you can come through. But what we have done also is there's a team that is coming, hopefully next week, who are running with the process of organizing the conference. I've left most of the detail because I want them to come and give you a step-by-step process of registration, what is required in a more detailed and technical way to help. So I'll just invite everyone to look out to our next episode of the investment trends, and we'll have experts here who are running with the conference to help you understand the process.
Let's conclude by you giving a word to that entrepreneur out there that has been looking for a breakthrough in their business. Look, could this be the moment for them?
Yes. Jason, I'm a Zambian. I have no intentions of going to live in another country. Born here, grown up here, I want to die here. So I'm so passionate about this country. But I also one day want to be a business person and run a business. I have tried it before. I understand the challenges of a local business person and what we go through. So I'm speaking to things that I've experienced, and I just think this is the way to go. Capital is a challenge. How do you get capital that is cheaper than commercial rates to keep your business? Skill. It's not only skills in terms of having gone to the university and acquired degrees. No, it's about business skills. It's having this gut feeling that develops as you go on in running a business. But also, it's also seeing how have others done it. And this is the platform we are creating. There are potential financial deals that will happen during this conference. There are potential partnerships with foreign investors that have done quite well, where we can tap into them for partnerships and joint ventures. So I want to encourage all these small, micro, and medium Zambian businesses to come forward. I just think this is a platform we have been waiting for too long, and let's make it succeed. Come next year, the other year, we should be actually featuring those who have benefited from this process and how well they are doing in business. That's the future of a business person in Zambia.
Well, Mr. Matongo Matamwandi, thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure,
Certainly
Jason.
wish you all the best going
Thank
forward.
you.
And for those of you that are unfortunately joining us now, we've come to the end of this particular episode of Investment Trends. And on the show, we were featuring Mr. Matongo Matamwandi, Director Investment from the Zambia Development Agency. And we were looking at the forthcoming Zambia International Investment Forum, which is slated for the 2nd and 3rd of October 2018. It will be taking place at the Radison Blue Hotel in Lusaka. And obviously, this is a forum that was recently launched by the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry. Until we find yet another opportune time, yet again, to discuss more issues regards investments in our country, it's bye-bye for now, and keep watching your public service broadcaster, ZIIF.